Hey everyone, in this video I will be showing you how I letter this quote here. I just did a really rough sketch and I'm going to use that as a guide. Also, don't mind if you hear my dog snoring in the background. She's laying right underneath me. But yeah, so for this design, I think I'm going to use my Kenzie 2.0 brush. So I'm going to pull that up and it is in my brush pack. The link to this is in my bio. I meant to say it's in the description below, but for some reason I kept saying in my bio, so just ignore that. You get all 15 of these brushes. I did duplicate the Aya twice, so that's why you see 3 of it. But I will be using the Kenzie 2.0 for this, and yeah. So I am going to go ahead and I'm going to walk you through this as best as I can and as slowly as I can. So from here, I took a photo of the design from my notebook and I just added it in Procreate. You could go up to the wrench up top here, go to add, insert a photo. So that is how I got the image in here. And from here, I'm gonna go ahead and add a new layer above that layer. And I like to add a few as cushion, and that helps me in case I undo too many times and it will pull me back to this layer and I don't want to draw on it. You could also swipe and lock it, but I personally never really do that. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and start drawing above this sketch. So typically I will change my color to something kind of fun. I like to have it in color as I go. It just keeps me going and keeps it fun. And I'm gonna check to see what size this brush is. Right now it is a lot smaller than I would like it, so I'm going to raise that up pretty big. And now I will see how it looks. So I think it's a little bit too big still, so I'm gonna make it a really tiny bit smaller. And I will continue making sure the brush size will work, and I think that's pretty good. Also, I think it's kind of funny. Does anybody write really, really weirdly? I turn my hand completely in, and I think it's because my mom is a lefty, and I have a feeling growing up, I just picked up on the way she holds her hand. I don't know if lefties write differently, but I think my mom does the same thing that I do. So now I'm just tracing over this design, over this sketch. And I will be using a combination of just drawing out the letters as is, like this. And for certain things like the D, which I will get to in a minute, I'm going to be doing the method where you hold down until the shape snaps into a perfect line or whatever you're trying to draw out. So if you see me holding down for a bit, that is what I'm doing. And a lot of times I only follow my sketch very, very roughly, and I'm going to be moving things around a bit to make everything fit. So this is a little close to the next O, so I might end up erasing that a bit at the end, depending how close these two end up to each other. But something along the lines of this. And I did want to show that I turned on a setting. So if you go up here to the wrench, if you go to preferences, turn on brush cursor. That's been really helpful. It shows you the end of your brush, so you'll see it when I do the D here. So I'm actually going to use that hold down. So hold down until I get a straight line like that. And you can see at the top now it says edit shape. So I do that a lot, but what I wanted to show is that brush cursor setting. So do you see over here, that is showing you the stroke. So that's really helpful. I've been using that a lot. It doesn't show up on every brush, but it has been showing up really nicely on the Kenzie 2.0 brush, which, by the way, if you purchased this pack very early on, check your email and your Etsy messages, because this wasn't originally in the brush pack. I added it in, so everybody that had already purchased did get this, and if you're one of those people that was kind enough to purchase right away, you got the link to download it, so make sure you grab that. It's free, of course. if you're already purchased. You get it for free. And now I want to erase this little overlap. I could have been a little bit more careful, but it's just easier for me to just erase. So I'm going to try to get in here. I might actually turn this into a mask, so let me show you how that works. Also, I'm filming this with one hand and holding my phone, so it's a little bit hard for me to see what I'm doing, and I'm trying to avoid getting that light, which you keep seeing. So I apologize. I need to figure out a little bit of a better setup, but to do a mask, you go to your layer that you want to mask, and I'll show you how that works. So you're gonna click on the layer and hit mask, and it's gonna add a white blank screen over that layer. Now you're gonna go to your brushes, and I like to use the monoline brush under the calligraphy section, just a normal monoline. And you want to turn the brush black, which I think it already is selected on black, which it is. So basically, when you have a mask, anything that you color black will erase, and anything that you color white will bring back those pixels. So I'm gonna go in really small here with a black brush, and I'm going to just carefully erase away this a little bit to make it look natural, but get rid of that little peak that was sticking out. And if I were to mess up, which hopefully I don't, I could always turn it into a white and I'll bring back those pixels. So that is how I use masks, and they are very helpful. I might redo the G because now I can see it's like a little bit taller, which I don't try to make my letters perfect. I prefer the I just prefer them to look however they look and not use a grid or anything. Sometimes I do use a grid, but yeah, I don't go crazy with that personally. But okay, so from here, I want to get back onto the brush I was using, which again is from my brush pack, which the link is in my bio to my Etsy. And I'm gonna get back on the Kenzie brush, and I do want to shut off my background to make sure this is looking okay, and for the most part it is, but I don't like how the G looks, so I'm going to go ahead and erase it right now, and I'm going to redraw it. And to do that, I'm actually going to show you a little trick. So I'm going to add a new layer above this, and I'm going to change the color of the brush to something completely different, and I'm actually going to use one of these letters, probably the O, maybe this O, as a guide. So make sure you're on a new layer, and I'm going to trace over this O and use it as a guide to make my G. That way it is more consistent with the size of the O, and everything will be about the same. So I think that's going to look a lot better, and then I will move it over using the arrow up at the top. I'm going to move it all the way over. And also you can now turn on snapping, which now I think this might be a little bit shorter, but I'm gonna leave it for right now, and I could always change it at the end, but I do want to tilt it just a little. You can turn on snapping if you click on the arrow on the bottom here. You're gonna see snapping. If you turn that on, click it and hit snapping on, now you can kind of see what happens. It creates this like line that shows you that these are all aligned at the bottom, which the G is still a little bit shorter than I would like, so I think maybe I will redraw it one more time. So again, I added a new layer, and I'm going to use this as a guide now, but I know to make it just a little bit taller. And sometimes I will redraw a letter like 5 times until I get it the way I want it, so it's definitely something that I play around with a lot, and I think that looks a lot better. So now I can shut off the blue G that was underneath and see how that looks. And I'm liking that, but of course it looks a little bit slanted, so I'm gonna go ahead and go to Canvas up in the settings and turn on the drawing guide, and now I'm going to try to move everything down a little bit to fit better here. I'm on the wrong layer, which I do all the time. I'm going to probably do a separate video on tips Procreate tips, and one of them will be showing you how I can easily figure out what layer I'm on, or I might post that to my reels, so check that out. Most likely I'll put it on my reels now that I'm thinking about it. Okay, so that's looking a little better, and now this D is too short, so I'm gonna get rid of it and redo that as well. Yeah, and I honestly think I'm going to duplicate. First I'm gonna pinch, sorry, let me show that a little better. I'm gonna pinch all these together to combine what I want and get rid of that blue layer. I'm gonna duplicate this, and then I'm going to grab the eraser and I'm going to erase away this original O, or the second O, and I'm actually going to duplicate this O. So I'm going to use the selection tool at the top. I click on freehand, and now I just drew a bit of a little shape around it. Go up to the arrow, and 3 fingers swipe down, and I will hit duplicate. I think there's another way to do that, probably something quicker, but that's how I do it. And now you're seeing that blue line is telling me that this is aligned with that O, and now I will redraw the D here. Erase. That's not the right layer. The eraser, and I'm again going to pinch everything here to combine. My doggy is snoring, so if you hear noises, that's what you're hearing. Okay, so now for the D, I'm gonna try this again. I know now I have to make it a little bit taller. And I will go ahead and do this part, hopefully a little bit more carefully this time, so I don't have to go back in with the mask, but I may still have to, just a little bit. Try it again. Maybe something like that, and I can actually grab the monoline and probably just straighten this little section out here. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm happy with how that's looking. Again, I do fix everything at the end if I'm not happy with something, so I'm gonna go ahead and shut off the drawing guide from here. And I'm actually going to, let me pull back in my sketch. So obviously good is there twice, so I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this good. So swipe on it to duplicate, and I'm going to drag this one down to about here. Make sure that's all centered. And what I'm gonna do from here, which is a trick that I showed on my TikTok that a lot of people were really excited about. So if you want to not lose the brush size in case I want to go back and fix this G at the end or something else, but you want to start using this brush smaller, what I do is I swipe and I hit duplicate, and now this one will stay the original brush size, but this new one I'm going to shrink down and use this to write out be and do. So I think I'm going to change to a different color just because I'm getting tired of the other pink, which I never thought I would say about pink. I'm such a pink person. Comment your favorite color down below. And does your favorite color change, or have you had the same favorite for a while? Because I would say my favorite has always been pink. Pink and sometimes purple, but for the majority of my life, it has been pink. So I'm curious how that works for you guys. When I was really little, it was yellow, and I used to say Lello. Lello was my favorite color. So I'm just kind of roughly mapping this out here. Okay, and I'm going to shut off the background and see how it's looking. And of course, I want to play around with this and the position of it and everything like that. So I think I'll leave it like that for right now. It's not exactly centered. I don't think. I should have put this on its own layer. But okay, there we go. That's centered. So I might leave it there and see how it looks. And let me put on the background one more time because I want to go over and do. But again, I'm actually going to add a new layer above this, change the color so I can see what I'm doing. And I will go over the bee with do, like that. And now I will go ahead and move that down here, like so. And I'm gonna move down good as well, second good. I've been going I've been going live a lot on my Instagram, and I have to say it's really nice to be filming this without being live. For some reason, going live is so much pressure. When lettering live is so hard for me to do, like to focus, and yeah, it's such a nice little switch up. Don't get me wrong, I do love interacting with everybody, but it is a lot of pressure to do lettering live, so yeah. Okay, now I'm gonna change the color of it to this red again. Depending where you drag your hand, how far to the right will determine how much you're filling in. So if you want to fill in all the letters, drag all the way to the right. And now I want to pinch everything together to combine. So these three layers I want to combine because now I feel like there isn't enough space between good and do and do and good. So moving everything a little bit downwards, down a little bit more, and that looks good. And from here I want to make this more of a square canvas, so I'm going up to the top, to the wrench, crop and resize, and I'm going to change it to like probably 4,000 by 4,000 because I do want it to be more of a square, since Instagram posts are square. I like to set it up that way. It just helps me visualize a little bit better. So let me crop that, and that looks pretty good. And from here I am going to make sure this is centered because now that I cropped it, it's probably off a little bit. And I want to add some little doodles or something in here to make it more fun. And then I'm going to color everything in, add some texture, add a background, and then export and post it. So one thing I'm noticing here is the G and the O are kind of close. So I'm going to go ahead and grab both G's like this and move everything just to the left the slightest bit to give it a little bit more space. And okay, so I think I'm gonna draw some stars. So I'm gonna grab again the monoline brush and put them around do, like on the sides of do. Maybe I'll put like a rainbow. I don't know. I have to play around and see what looks cute. But I'm gonna start with some stars. I've been really into drawing stars lately in my designs, like really loving it. So I'm gonna put one there, make one a little bit smaller. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy these videos, and please comment below if you think they are helpful. I want to continue filming if you guys feel they're helpful, but otherwise I just want to be dedicating my time to things that you guys are gonna find helpful or that help you guys grow as artists. So please let me know what you think, and if there's anything that you want to see that I can help with, please comment. I would love to film something that you guys are interested in seeing. So if you can comment or give this a thumbs up if you're finding it to be helpful, that way I know to continue filming videos like this, or maybe you can comment and let me know what you would like to see instead. That would be really, really helpful. And like I said, I just want to put out things that you guys want to see, so if you can let me know, that would be really good. So I am gonna go ahead and, you know what, I'm gonna draw out one more star over here. I don't like to fully copy and paste just because I feel like, I don't know, I'm not into the whole exact symmetry on the other side thing. So I'm gonna draw out probably this star and maybe one more, and then I can copy like one of the other stars over here. So there's that one. And that one. I'll do one more. It's quick enough for me to just draw it out. It's kind of relaxing to color them in. Okay, so now I have to decide if I want something up here. I'm thinking maybe a rainbow. So let me see how that's gonna look. Okay guys, so I decided not to add anything else. I'm just gonna leave it as the little stars. I think they look really cute and simple. And I inserted an old photo from one of my old designs. So I'm gonna be using these colors to color in my design. And I'm gonna go ahead, I duplicated the layer just in case I messed up. Now I have that, and I am working on the duplicated layer here, and I'm grabbing some of these colors, and a lot of the time I will grab from my own designs old color schemes that I came up with, just because I tend to gravitate towards similar colors and I really like how these look together. So I'm gonna go ahead and see how it turns out in the end, and if I'm not happy I can always play around some more and change them up a bit. That's the fun part about Procreate, is you can easily fix a mistake or change colors and things like that. So, all right, one more color, and I try to stagger so I don't end up having two of the same colors touching, if that makes sense. So I like to try to space this out and plan it out so things that are next to each other are not the same color. And for example, I will use this yellow probably over here since it's pretty far from that, and or orange, whatever color you want to call that. And there we go. And I'll do the same on this end. And I really think that looks super cute, like that. So from here I'm gonna add a background. I will probably end up doing other color schemes as well, but just to save time, because this is already really long, I'm going to skip that part and I will just get to the background and get to texturing this. It just doesn't look centered for some reason to me. But okay, so from here I will go ahead and add a background, a new layer underneath, and I always go for the same area. So I go to the oranges or reds and I get a pretty light color like this. I tried shutting off the light to get rid of that light shining through, but it didn't work out, so I do apologize for the overhead lighting. So I just added a background. You can barely tell on the camera, but it's like a light pink, and from here I will go ahead and add a layer all the way at the top and grab a gray color, and I'll use any brush. I'm gonna try it with this Kenzie 2.0, and I'll start adding little dots all around my canvas. This is gonna create texture, and sometimes I'll do like a little line or little dots, and I'll just keep doing this all around. And I like to get some over the letters, between the letters. Sometimes I'll make the brush smaller or bigger, play around with the sizing, and just get a nice little texture going. And I know this looks a little funny right now, but once I have this done, I'm going to show you how I change the blending mode. So on your layer, you're gonna click on the N and change the blending mode. I usually go to linear burn or color burn. For this, I'm probably going to go with linear burn, and I'm going to actually lower the opacity to make it look a little bit more natural, maybe around there. And that's how I get my texture. I'll try to zoom in a bit so you can see I don't do anything too crazy. I could always go in and add a few more dashes or lines if I feel like it needs some more. And I just really like how that looks. It gives like a little bit of depth to the design, and it just adds a little something. So that is how I do my texture. So from here, I would add my little name tag. How I do that, I go up to the wrench, add text, I type out my name. I'm going to skip that just because it takes a bit of time. Basically, this is how I would finish up my design, and then I would go up here to the wrench and share, JPEG, and save image, and then I would post it straight like that. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Give me a thumbs up if you liked this style of video, like me talking over as I go, and if you found it helpful. And comment below what else you would like me to do a video on. Do you like letter with me's? Do you want to see just general Procreate tips? Let me know what would be helpful, and I will try to film that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.